Hey everybody, it's Dr. Reiser. If you like what you see in our videos, make sure you click subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future videos about functional medicine, nutrition, and tips on how to reclaim your health the easy way with Functional Health Center of the Carolinas. Hey everybody, it's Dr. Reiser. Another Whiteboard Wednesday coming your way, and today we're talking about cortisol rhythm and then what I have on the whiteboard here, sleep and energy. So one of the biggest complaints we have as far as people coming in is I'm fatigued throughout the day, or I'm fatigued specifically in the morning, or I'm fatigued in the afternoons, and then following that is always I have problems with sleep. Either I can't get to sleep or I can't stay asleep through the entire night. So this all comes back to cortisol and cortisol rhythm. We've talked about this many times. It's kind of a staple of functional medicine where your normal doctor, your primary care physician, if you told them that you were fatigued or any of these other things, they would not even think to check your cortisol rhythm, and they probably wouldn't even run the test if you asked. So the cortisol rhythm test is something that we are going to do either through your saliva or through your urine to measure the hormone cortisol. So cortisol comes from your adrenal glands, and throughout the day it has to be a specific rhythm, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. The things and symptoms, or signs and symptoms that you can see based that will show you your specific cortisol rhythm possibly, and what we see typically as far as the results of certain times where cortisol is high during the day or certain times where cortisol is low during the day, and what you want to look out for if you're somebody that has a hard time falling asleep or staying asleep. Okay, so the first thing that we have to figure out is, sleep overall. How does it work? So you have about 5 stages of sleep, or exactly 5 stages of sleep. The first 2 stages of sleep, stage 1 and stage 2, are basically light sleep. Okay, and what you're doing is you're kind of relaxing, and you're going to in between that time of really where you're awake and where you're sleeping. Then you go into stages 2 and 3 where your brain waves start to slow down a little bit. Your heart rate may slow down a little bit, and really you're starting to get into that deeper sleep. Stage 4, even slower brain waves, your respiration may increase. And then stage 5, we're actually into REM sleep, so rapid eye movement, you're in that deep sleep. Okay, so these are the things you want to do. You want to get into stage 5 sleep, and then what your body actually does is, depending on how your cortisol is going through the night, you will bounce back and forth between 3 and 4, 2 and 3, and into 5. And then as you do these, you stay into 5 longer, come back, and you go into 5 longer and longer and longer. And that's going to be a restful sleep. The problem that becomes where people do not ever get into 5, or when they get into 5, it's not long enough and they periodically wake up. That is a cortisol issue through the night. So let's take a look and see what cortisol rhythm looks like through the day, what the appropriate rhythm should look like. So I'm going to put up a graph. And I know many of you haven't seen a graph since school, but we will put a graph up so that we can plot where cortisol should be on this graph. So if we're looking at a y-axis and an x-axis here, you have your y-axis and then you have your x-axis. This is going to be time of the day, and this is going to be your cortisol. Okay, so the times of the day, what we could possibly put in here would be like a 9, or we would put a 9 a.m. here. We would put maybe a 12. We would put like a 4, and then we put possibly about a midnight, and that's going to be through the day. So you have your morning time, and then you have your evening time. So cortisol should be in a specific area throughout the day. In the morning, it should be at its highest point about an hour after you wake up. So we would put maybe through here is where you should be. Around noon and around that mid-morning, midday time is when your cortisol should start to decrease. And then as you get to 4 o'clock, you're going to have it stabilize out, and it should go even lower down towards to midnight. All right. Okay. And then so what you're seeing here is cortisol. Obviously, you know it as a stress hormone. We know under stress it gets elevated, but it has a pretty important role with many body functions. It's involved in hormone production, your sex hormones, blood sugar regulation, thyroid function, weight. Obviously, we know when we're more stressed, you have issues with weight gain around the midsection, immune system function. So it is important to have it appropriately where it should be through the day. And that is in the morning, high. That helps wake you up. You're energetic. And as the day goes on, it goes slower or lower and lower and lower. That keeps your energy sustained throughout the day. And when it's lowest at night, that helps you go to sleep. So you're more relaxed. So what we'll see with people is they will be all over the place, okay? And let's go through a couple scenarios here where we would see issues with people. So let's say if I plotted and I did a saliva test or a urine test in your cortisol, and it gave me these 4 spots, and that's what we would do. We would test it 4 times throughout the day. And let's say it came back like this. Let's say in the morning you're fine, at noon you're okay, but around the 4 p.m. time, your plot is a little high, and around midnight, your plot is a little high as well. What we would call this, if we see the plot through here, is chronically elevated cortisol. This is somebody that's under a current stress exposure, and it could be for a prolonged period of time, and they're experiencing cortisol release higher than what it should be. This person may have cravings, whether it's salt or sugar. They may be anxious. They have an issue throughout the day where they are fatigued, but they're wired, where they basically, I'm so tired, but I can't sleep. And as you can see at this time of the day, if your cortisol is high right before bed, you will lay in bed and you will sit there and for 10, 15, 20, an hour, and you can't get to sleep. Your wheels are spinning, okay, over on this side. So this is somebody where we have to make sure we get the cortisol back down through here. Similarly, because the cortisol is already elevated, this area right here, and specifically in this afternoon time, you do not want to exercise because exercise is going to increase your cortisol. It's another stressor on your body. And what do we see time and time again with people that have busy schedules who are stressed? They exercise after work. And that's not the time you want to do that because it will keep you awake. The time you want to do that is right here where your cortisol is normal, okay? So let's go back through here. Let's plot another one. But what if we're somebody possibly that is irritable through the day? Maybe this person's irritable, they're fatigued, they have issues with mood, they are not happy, they're tired all the time, they feel like they could sleep all the time, and they have issues with their hunger and cravings all throughout the day. Well, this person might look something like this. So let's say they wake up in the morning, we plot their cortisol, and it's low. And then we plot it again at noon, and it's low. And then we plot it again at 4, and it's low. We plot it again, even at nighttime, it's low. This person, as you can see, and we see this time and time again, are under a severe adrenal fatigue issue where they're not producing cortisol in an adequate amount at any time of the day. This person may get to sleep through the night, but when they wake up, they're never going to be energized because their cortisol is not high enough. Their cortisol is not at the point where it should be to help get them up, get them moving and going. Same thing at noon, they're just not there. They may feel a little bit better in the afternoon, and that's what you'll hear from some people where they'll say, yeah, in the afternoon I kind of get my second wind, but I'm just still tired through the rest of the day. I can fall asleep pretty easily. And another thing you'll hear from them is that they'll wake up periodically through the night. They never get into a deep sleep because that cortisol has to help your body go back and forth through those stages of sleep like we talked about in the beginning of this video. You have to come out of deep sleep and then get back into it. A lot of times what you'll find is cortisol either very high and elevated in the middle of the night or crashing low. I've even seen in practice where you'll have these people that just never get into deep sleep and they just periodically wake up every 30 minutes to an hour, or they wake up at 3 a.m. and they cannot get back to sleep. And so what you'll see with those types of people is a high cortisol in the morning. And then it comes back down to reality and it's okay. They start to push. And what's going on here is that as this cortisol increases at night, it will also increase in the morning. And so when cortisol starts to increase in the middle of the night when it's not supposed to, it will wake you up and it's going to energize you, quote unquote. So that's why you'll never get to sleep. So there's many different variations of this. You have to figure out where your cortisol is. If you're experiencing things like fatigue, sleep issues, thyroid issues, weight gain, immune system issues where you're always sick, the person that had the adrenal fatigue there, where they didn't have cortisol where it should be the entire day, they will get sick all the time. Another thing is, let me show you this. This person right here, let's say you wake up in the morning, you're okay. And let's say you start to crash at noon, 4 p.m., and then you're okay here. This person, what do they do at this time of the day? Coffee, caffeine. That makes that worse. The caffeine is going to make it worse for you with your cortisol rhythm. And then you will rely on caffeine to get you through that part of the day. And if you miss it, guess what happens? You are drained. So you've got to take care of this stuff before you use things like caffeine. And really, honestly, at this point in time, I might even suggest this person take a little cat nap at the middle of the day. That gets you a little bit more energy, and it will help with this cortisol to get back on track. But there are many disease processes that have their root right in this, and you're never going to get it checked by your doctor because they'll boo-hoo this test and say saliva, urine test. No, we can't do anything. And not to mention, do you think there's a prescription medication that helps get your cortisol rhythm back on track? Not going to happen. So you've got to get your cortisol rhythm checked, and then based on what we're seeing, where it's high and where it's low, we will then prescribe us an exercise routine, a lifestyle routine, stress management routine, different adaptogenic herbs, because certain herbs may increase cortisol, certain herbs may decrease cortisol. You also have to look at amino acids. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, and this gets very complicated. But if you're a person that feels like you are always tired, you have sleep issues, you have weight issues, you have all these things going on, you just don't feel good, this is something that you have to do. And really, if we were looking at percentages of my patients, probably 90% of them are going to get this test because there's so many different disease processes that start from this. So if you have any questions or if you want your cortisol run, give us a call. Obviously, we always have our phone number on our Instagram and our Facebook. We can get you set up with a kit. I'll interpret the kit, and then we can get you on a certain protocol to get this stuff fixed. But chances are, if you're a working person and you are stressed, you're going to have problems. A little side note for my friends that are flight attendants, nurses, people that are burning the midnight oil, you guys never have normal cortisol rhythms. Never. So if that's one of your jobs, make sure you come and see me so that you can do something about that to help you get through your job and help keep you on the right track as close as it can possibly be and give you some energy. Thanks, guys. Whiteboard Wednesday. Look out for the next one next week. Again, as always, questions, DM us, and we'll see you later.